thank you to all the attendees for spending this hour with us. So at Price Systems, we build cost models, and my role at Price Systems as the chief scientist is to be on top of the activities that go around building those cost models. And one of the things, because our cost models are focused on hardware and software, one of the things that it's responsible for that myself and my group are responsible for doing is keeping up on technology. And so we started to learn about wearable technology. It's come to the forefront recently as people are getting their activity trackers and their smartphones. So we thought that this would be a pretty interesting topic for us to start to do some research on. So as our clients move further into the world of wearable technology as far as the applications and products that they're building, that we would have some insight into being able to help them. And I thought this would be a pretty interesting topic to talk about. So I'll start off with a little bit of definition. You know, what do we mean by the Internet of Things? Excuse me. What do we mean by the Internet of Things? What do we mean by wearable technology? Talk about some of the ways that this technology is currently being used. Discuss briefly some of the pros and cons, and then present some really interesting stuff that I've found on places that different parts of industry are looking to go, accomplishments that they're looking to make, and just all kinds of really exciting things are possible with this wearable technology. So not everything that I talk about in this presentation is available today, but a lot of it is stuff that is currently in a research phase. So the Internet of Things, it's obviously Internet-enabled. It's a network of things that share data without human-to-human or human-to-machine interactions. So a thing in the Internet of Things speak, it's an object that can be assigned an IP address and that can transfer data over a network, over the Internet. So some of these things include maybe a microchip that you have embedded sometimes in your dog or in your dog's collar that might maybe monitor the dog's health or activity level, or might make it easy for you to locate the animal if the animal is lost. A human being wearing an activity tracker, that is something that's a device that tracks the number of steps that you take. Maybe it tracks how well you sleep, how many minutes you spend being active in a given day. Some sort of a medical implant that makes it possible for your health conditions to be communicated to a healthcare professional. So something like something you would wear on your wrist, maybe. Think about robots that are controlled by computer commands. That's part of this Internet of Things. You can find instances where a piece of jewelry or something like that you might wear on your hand that would allow you to control your home appliances with some sort of physical gestures. So, people are starting to get quote-unquote smart homes, and this wearable technology works in conjunction with the computer sense that the smart homes have. So this notion of wearable technology, it enables this Internet of Things. So I have not done exhaustive research that this was really the first instance of the Internet of Things, but it's a pretty interesting example, and it goes back to, it has been suggested, this was the early 80s, it's been suggested that a Coke machine was the first instance of an Internet of Things. So what happened at Carnegie Mellon, the computer science department apparently was located fairly far away from the Coke machine, or the soda machine. I guess in this case, obviously, it's a Coke machine. And the programmers were constantly taking this relatively long trek to the machine, only to find out that their favorite beverage was missing, or the machine had maybe just been restocked, and it was there, but it wasn't cold. It was room temperature. So they installed sensors into the Coke machine to determine what bins were filled and whether or not the Cokes in the bin, or the sodas in the bin, were cold. They then developed software, because they were programmers, computer science department and all, they then developed software that would query those sensors via the internet so that they could sit at their workstations or their desks and, I need a Coke. Wonder if there's a cold one. Wonder if there's any. And so this is often touted as the first instance of an Internet of Thing kind of an object. There's lots of other things that probably are that emerged in the early 80s that probably are as likely to have been the quote-unquote first. But the point of this slide isn't the Coke machine so much as technology, or this application of technology has been around for quite some time. We're certainly starting to take it to the next level, or to the many next levels. So some of the instances of wearable technology that we can see today that we could go online and buy if we were interested. Smartwatches. So a smartwatch, it's like a smartphone, except that you wear it on your wrist. It's synced up to your smartphone, but you can receive text messages, you can receive email, you can receive notifications. So instead of having to carry around your big clunky phone, which is, I say that sarcastically because 10 years ago they were way bigger and way clunkier, but instead of having to carry around your big clunky phone, you have it right there on your wrist. If you're taking a walk and you get an important email or text message, you get alerted right away. They also contain GPS devices so that if you're taking a walk to a new restaurant and one you haven't been to before, or any place you haven't been to before, it's right there on your wrist. Taking that a little bit of a step further, there's Bluetooth jewelry that allows you to sync with your phone to provide notifications and alerts. So once again, it's just a smaller version, not as packed with capability as your smartphone, but it's a smaller version of your smartphone that blends into your wardrobe more easily. There are instances of connected T-shirts. So there's some sort of a electronic circuitry embedded in the T-shirt so that Instagram notifications, tweet notifications, things like that. So if you're highly connected in the social media world, maybe a connected T-shirt is the way you want to wear your technology. There's shoes that have GPSs and sensors in the insoles, so you're actually help provide you with direction. They could also provide tracking and monitoring, so they could keep track, not unlike an activity tracker, they could keep track of the number of steps that you've taken, how fast, things like that. And then Google Glass. Probably about Google Glass, it's a smartphone. It's smartphone-like, but it's hands-free access. And what Google Glass provides you is right there in front of you, information maybe about your environment. Some of them actually have capability to do respond to voice, so that you have on these smart glasses that are giving you information. Maybe they're trying to get to a restaurant, or maybe they're letting you know that, obviously depending on the kinds of applications that you allow them to have, they're letting you know that the store that you're walking by has a sale going on right now of something that you're terribly interested in. So these are some instances in sort of the communications area. There's also instances of wearable technology that are more supportive of things like health and fitness. I already mentioned an activity tracker like a Fitbit that it's going to monitor your steps, how many miles you've walked, how much time in the day you've been physically active, maybe the quality or quantity of your sleep. There's smart sunglasses, which provide sort of a heads-up display so that as you're riding your mountain bike or as you're running, you can keep your eyes straight ahead so that you don't trip over anything, but at the same time, you can see right there on your smart sunglasses